Hi guys, thank you for joining me tonight for the second stream of FSiPanel. Today we are sitting in LaGuardia and we are going to do the latest training flight of FSiPanel Advanced Edition. This is a flight Delta Airlines 540 departing LaGuardia, as you can see, to Atlanta. Of course, we are not going to fly the 2 hours, as you can expect. Some surprise with FSiPanel. We are here to train, to see things. So we are going to experience some things, some nice surprise during that stream. So welcome everybody. I see Jean-Baptiste, bonsoir. We have Cleve. Hi Cleve, very nice to see you. Ray Vancan as well, good evening. Paul and John as well. And I see as well Marks. Thank you everybody for joining. And I hope you hear me well and that the stream quality will be alright. So we are just sitting now on ground in LaGuardia, and today what I did, I also put FSDTL, so we should have some traffic here around. I hope we will not get any problem during our taxi, otherwise I will have to simply remove FSDTL so we have a normal flight. Alright, so let's go then into the cockpit and I will tell you what we are going to do. So we are now in our cockpit of the Airbus A320. Today we are flying Fenix, it's a Delta livery. And as well, I will give you some very important information now if you fly that later on or another scenario using FSiPanel. Here I choose Delta Airlines livery. And therefore, the unit is pound. As you can see, my fuel, right now it's not loaded, but you can see it's in pound. So you have to make sure that you set your FSiPanel in pounds as well if you want everything to be correct. So I will start FSiPanel now, and I will show you a few settings that we need to set correctly. So here we are in FSiPanel, and the first thing we want to make sure in the setup, if you go to the option, you can see that the visibility, the weight, I have set pounds. So that's very important if you choose a Fenix livery that is in pounds. So that's set already. One more thing I will show you today, maybe you are not aware of that feature. You find it under here, cockpit flows. So this is as well a feature of FSiPanel Advanced Edition, and tonight we are going to use it. What we can do with that is simply calling the first officer flow. So when we are taxiing the airplane and we need, for example, to line up the runway, usually I'm looking up and I start to put my lights on, then I look down to set the transponder, and when I look up again, then I'm on the grass and I'm not happy about myself, and I don't want to do that static. So that's why I have developed that cockpit flow. You can set it to a controller ID the same way as the ATC buttons, or here I set a key combination. For me it's Control Shift F11. Right, so I will show you that as well today. So that's important to remember for the pounds. All right, and now we are going to launch the training scenario. So if I go to the scenario here, what I will do first, open the scenario manager, and I have already imported that scenario, and I will make sure I have a SimBrief flight plan. That will help us a lot to import them into the Airbus. So if you click that, then you will get exactly this. You will get your flight prepared by FSiPanel. And make sure as well here, you see the unit is kilogram. So make sure you select pounds if you have an aircraft in pounds, and just generate your flight plan. And this is it. We have done it, so we can remove that. Another thing, we have a quick look at the lesson plan. So if I click on lesson plan, this is what I will get. And this is the lesson plan that you will get if you fly that later on. So it's a Delta 540 LaGuardia to Atlanta. Very short flight. Normally it's a 2 hours flight, but as I said before, we're going to have some surprise, and the idea is to learn something. Every video that I will do, the idea is to learn things. So today we are going to talk about MCDU setup, because in LaGuardia you will see, like in JFK, we have special departure procedure where we cannot just fly LNAV, we cannot just depart and put autopilot and be safe. Now, otherwise we are going to go into Kennedy airspace, and that's the best way to lose your license. So we will see that together today. All right, so what we have to set up in this scenario, LaGuardia, we are going to depart on runway 13. We are anywhere in Delta Terminal C, so I choose the gate Delta 12 today, and the weather preset is Delta Airlines 540. As for the clearance, you will see that we are getting runway 13, LaGuardia 7, and this is what is important for us, the conic climb. So we will see if ATC gives us the conic climb. and then Lana, and we have the routing to Atlanta. Weather-wise today, we have a very good weather at departure stations. We have a few clouds only scattered at 8,000, 18 degrees. The altimeter is 29065. And here we have a little hint, because as you know, we are doing scenarios, so we cannot simulate all the airports around us. So here we just have a company note time telling us that Washington Dulles, this is Kilo India Alpha Delta, alternate is closed due to VIP movement, so probably a presidential flight, Air Force One or something, so we cannot divert to Washington, but they suggest to go, in that case, to the Ronald Reagan Airport, which is as well a base of Delta. Right, so that's it. We will not go any further with the tips. We will jump into the cockpit, and here we go. We are going to launch the scenario. So let me bring FSiPanel, and we are going to start the scenario. Okay, so I just go to training scenario. I will select runway 13, training scenario, Delta 540, and we click on start training. And here we are into the cockpit. First thing, FSiPanel will download the ATC pack, and then all cockpit will be set for us. So here, don't touch anything, and everything will be set. So in the meantime, we are just going to wait. And I see Alain is here. Bonsoir, Alain. Bonsoir, Daniel. So we have as well some French communities there. Jean-Baptiste, thank you. Damien is here as well. So very nice to see you all, guys. So if I'm going too fast, here we're going to have a flight where something is going to happen, and then everything will go very fast. So I might not have the time to explain everything once we are in that position, but otherwise, if you see something during my checklist work or during the phase of preparation, just let me know, ask me the question. I will try to answer all your questions. So we will do that first part, and the second part, depending if we are not too tired after we land. We have one pilot asked me on an email if I can show how to prepare a RNP approach in Salzburg, Austria, because he would like to fly it with FSiPanel, not to lose time, but there is no waypoint to start this approach. So if we have time at the end, if you're not too tired, I will try to show you quickly. It takes a few minutes, and it's a very short approach as well, so we will try that. And it's a very good test as well for the Fenix, because it's a RNP AR with tight turn, visual on the runway 33, so we will see if the Airbus here can manage that. All right, so scenario is almost completed. You saw it took us around 1 minute, and we are getting the information that the scenario is ready and to contact delivery on 135.2, and the ATIS should be available on 12345. So I just acknowledge that, and here we are ready to go. So before we go any further, let's pick up the ATIS. So 12345.
965, ILS runway 4.
Let me know if you hear the ATIS as well.
Runway 13. Advise on initial contact LaGuardia Airport. ATIS information Alpha. Wind 170 at 14. Visibility 10. 4,000 scattered. 8,000 scattered. Temperature 182.12. Altimeter 2965. ILS runway 4 news. Departing runway 13. Advise on initial contact. You have LaGuardia ATIS information Alpha.
Alright, so we have information Alpha. 29065 is set, and so we are expecting runway 13 for departure. Perfect. So let's prepare the aircraft. So when you go into your EFB, that's the good thing of the SimBrief function now of FSiPanel. I will just tap to import from SimBrief, and I will get here normally my flight. I can adjust departure if I need. So right now we could set departure time at, let's say, 18:30. So this is completely up to you. You don't need to do it, but here I will just put it as then we don't have any warning from the system. That's it. So we have the flight ready. Mass and balance FSiPanel has done it already, so we don't need to do anything. And if we want to do Navigraph here, we can go Navigraph, and there I could import my routing from SimBrief. And that's it. I have LaGuardia, and I can go ground chart. I will just put 10.9 into the preferred, so we can see that. So that's 10.9, 10.9. That's the airport information, that one. That's the one we might need. And then we will see the departure in LaGuardia. So probably something like they love to do this LaGuardia departure or Kennedy departure. And this is what we are going to train today. All right, so we are almost ready here for departure. Boarding is completed. I'm just going to ask the clearance, and then we will see what kind of departure we are getting from here, and from there we can start the briefing. So let's call the delivery 135.2. Delivery, very good morning. This is Delta Airlines 540. We are stand Delta 12 with information Alpha, ready to pick up IFR to Atlanta. Information Alpha and A320.
Delta 540, very good morning. You're clear to Atlanta. Runway 13, LaGuardia 7 departure, Coney climb. Expect vectors to Potsdam, radial 059, then as filed. Climb initially 5,000 feet. Expect flight level 300, 10 minutes after departure. Squawk 2254, and your departure frequency is 120.4.
20.4. All right, we are clear to Atlanta, runway 13, LaGuardia 7 departure, Coney climb, expect vectors to Potsdam, radial 059. Then as filed, climb initially to 5,000 feet, and we expect flight level 300, 10 minutes after departure. Squawk is 2254, and the departure frequency 1204 for the Delta Airlines 540.
Delta 540, readback is correct. When ready for push, contact ramp control 131.475. Bye-bye.
Roger, ready for push, we contact ramp 131.475, Delta 540, bye-bye. All right, so we got the clearance, and we have then the squawk. So a good thing to do, guys, is you can write it down here. And now we have 2254, so we know that we can just set 2254 right there. And we have as well the 5,000. Here you can set it right away. If it's when it tells you the clearance altitude, you can set it right there. And finally, we have 1204 that I wrote on my paper. So I have everything. So we know the departure, we know the clearance. Now we can have a look at this famous LaGuardia 7 departure, and you will see why it is a little bit of a nightmare if you're not familiar with the navigation on the aircraft here. So let's go here and have a look at the LaGuardia departure. So I'm gonna zoom here, and this is what we have. He said LaGuardia 7, which is that chart, LaGuardia 7 for all runways, and we have the Coney climb. So initial climb, top altitude is 5,000 feet. That's what we have been given. We are departing from runway 13, and you can see that we have different climb procedures, just like in Kennedy. So this is something to be very careful, because you will not find that procedure in your MCDU or in your FMC if you fly a Boeing. So here what it says, Coney climb, turbojet only. It's a climbing right turn to heading 180 to intercept Charlie Romeo India. This is Canard C. Radial 043, so that's inbound. We have to fly 223 toward Canard C. Do not exceed 230 knots until intercepting the radial. Then we go to the VOR, and then we continue on the radial 223 outbound. And we have to cross 2.5 DME LaGuardia at or above 1,500, maintain 5,000. All right, so we're expecting basically to establish ourselves in that radial and then to get vectors. And what it says here, our flight plan is going via Lana. Expect vectors to Papa Tango Whiskey radial 059. So that's where it's quite interesting. That's exactly what they do in the US, in India, in Africa. Sometimes they ask you to intercept a radial. So they will give you vectors, and then they will let you intercept a radial. So on the Boeing, you can do it very easily. On the Airbus, there is a couple of ways to do it, and we are going to talk about this tonight, for example. That's one of the subjects, how to fly that departure and that we don't screw it up. All right, so we have our flight plan, which is set here, and let me show you what you find if I go to the departure. So if I select a departure from there, runway 13, the stars that are available are those ones. As you can see, I do not have here the LaGuardia 7, so I cannot fly anything with that MCDU. So basically, this is the initial altitude. She will climb straight ahead, and we see it here, and then it's go by yourself, bye-bye. So now we have to be very careful. So it said turn right heading 180, so that's quite easy. We are going to select heading 180 to the right. And now FSiPanel didn't set anything because that's the subject of tonight, so I didn't want to set the whole MCDU here for departure because we are going to do it together. Right, so what can we do to improve the situation? Anybody has an idea what I can do here to fly that departure? So if you let me know what you will do. What would you do? We turn on right on heading 180, and then we need to do something because we need to make sure we are not going to the Kennedy airspace, and we will see it on the departure tonight. So any idea what to do here? It's quite... on the Airbus we can fly heading mode and try to navigate, but there is some way to do it. And some stuff we should definitely do to make sure we don't screw it up here. So what can we do? One good thing to do is like that. Let me show you this. You go to flight plan anywhere you want. You click on the left key. Then you go to fix information. Then we are going to put the VOR, Charlie Romeo India. Via RadNav, yes, that's correct as well, Jean-Baptiste. Very nice. We're going to use that as well. So here, the easiest way, if the weather is nice and everything is good, you just put a reference. So this is my reference, the VOR. And now which radial do I have to fly in? 043. So if I dial that in, now you can see I have already a good help here. I'm departing here. I'm turning right on heading 180. And then I just follow that radial. But we have to be very precise, right? So that's one thing to do. Then Jean-Baptiste said something very nice as well. If you go to the radio navigation page, the Airbus here has auto-tuning, but we want to force my VOR1 and sometimes VOR2. In fact, we will put both. So we put Charlie Romeo India here into the frequency. And then we need the course. So be careful here. It's not the radial. This is the course. So when we are departing, the course to Charlie Romeo India is not going to be 043. 043 is the opposite. So we need to go 223. Right there. So now basically I have as well a VOR frequency, and then I will be able to navigate conventional if required. So that's one thing to do. And once airborne, once we turn to the right heading 180, I will show you a way to insert that in the MCDU so that it flies automatically. So let me show you quickly what we will do, and then you will see it just after we get airborne. So we do a direct to Charlie Romeo India. Now you see that the aircraft wants to turn direct to the VOR, but this is not the clearance. We have to turn right heading 180 and then intercept the radial 043. So here we have the radial inbound. So we want to intercept the radial 043. And now look at that. The two lines match exactly. So then we just have to make sure we are in nav mode, and the Airbus will nicely fly the departure, make sure it stays on the line, and then we can go all the way to Charlie Romeo India. Now we have another problem. We are reaching Charlie Romeo India, and we need to continue outbound on the 223. So now how can we do that? Let me erase that first. And I will erase everything here. So we are back to the standard, and then we will do that. So now what we will need to do is after Charlie Romeo India, we need to continue on the radial 223 to get vectors. So here again on the Airbus, two options. Basically you go VOR and you navigate with the heading in track mode or in heading mode, or you follow the line. We could put the fixed information that we already have here. I could put the other radial here. I have radial 043. If I want the outbound, I can put 223, and then I have as well my blue line here. So then I can follow the blue line. So that's the easy way, but you might do mistake. Another way we can do is simply, well, simply not. I'll give you a good hint here. What you will do, you will create a point. The Airbus let you create any pilot waypoint you want. So to do that, let's say after Charlie Romeo India, I want to fly to JP1. You give a name, as you like. Put your 3-letter code or put LaGuardia 6, whatever you want, as long as it doesn't exist. So here, let me try to put the MCDU like this. Yeah. Here we are going to fly JP1. And I don't want to fly JP1 at Charlie Romeo India. I want to fly it after Charlie Romeo India. So I'm going to place that point on the next waypoint. A speed limit is not a waypoint. So you go to Lana and you click here. And now you see what happened. We have a new waypoint. So we have 3 ways to enter a waypoint. Now we can put the latitude, longitude. We can put a place, bearing, and distance. So I've made a little chart for you for that. So what we can do is either, as you have on your screen now, from Charlie Romeo India, we can set a radial. So radial in that case 223, and a distance, and that will give us a pilot waypoint, as you can see JP1 here. So that's one way to do it. Then we have the last one, which is intersection. So it's a place and a bearing, and a place and a bearing. So that is a little bit more complicated. It will say that if you look at this VOR, which is Sierra Bravo Juliet, the radial is 274 to that point. And if we take the VOR, which is here southwest, which is Papa Tango Whiskey, the radial of the airway here is 059. So if we tell the RFMC any intersection between this radial and this radial, when it cross each other, this is the point I want to fly to. So this is how you can create pilot waypoint. So here we are going to do it very easily. We are going to use that second line. This line, we use it most of the time. So we need a reference. So the reference is Charlie Romeo India. Right? Then it says slash. So I'm going to put the slash. Now he wants to know the bearing. So if we look at this Coney departure, here, you can see that from Canarsie, we need to go on the 223. That's the bearing from Canarsie. So I'm going to put 223, 223, and then there is another slash. So just put your slash, and you need a distance. So here, we don't really care about the distance. We just want to fly outbound. So just put like 30 miles. We are never going to fly 30 miles. So just put something big here. Don't put 5 miles, because then the aircraft might start to tell you end of flight plan, or you need to turn and do funny things. So put something far away, and you place it right there. Now we have created JP1, as you can see. Not Air Force One, but JP1. Right, I store it, and now let's see what happened. If I go here on my flight plan, I have Canarsie, then I should have Lana, but I tell him, no, after Canarsie, just go JP1 and put it here. Now we have JP1, insert. Now if we look into our flight plan, it's magic, as you can see. We have Canarsie, and then following the line perfectly well, we go 30 miles, and we expect vectors somewhere around the place right there. If you want to make it even safer, just go overfly and put the overfly over JP1. Insert. So now the aircraft will for sure go all the way here before doing any turn. So it will give us a long time to think about what we need to do. And it's going to be vectors anyway. So that's what we are expecting to do today. So here I show you how to create pilot waypoints. Usually the airlines, they like to delete the pilot waypoints after every flight. It's automatic, or they delete it weekly, because if you create a pilot waypoint like I did now, and your colleague is coming tomorrow and he says, oh, very nice, JP made already the plan, he did already the waypoint, but I screw it up. Then if he makes a navigation issue, then who is going to be responsible? Of course him, but he will blame me. So that's something. You can as well insert directly your information right there. So I don't need to go to a JP1. I could say, okay, I want Charlie Romeo India, radial 223, and I want 15 miles. You can do it right there and put it wherever you want. And that's going to be pilot waypoint define number 1. And it's exactly the same point here, 15 miles. So you basically don't need to go into creating a pilot waypoint. You can type in directly the information right there, and it will show. So now we have a nice departure. We know that we just have to insert direct Charlie Romeo India 043 once we got airborne, so that the aircraft flies toward Canarsie, and then it will continue, and then we're expecting vectors. So now that we have done this, later on we are going to have to intercept this radial here. So there you will tell me what I should enter. When we are at the position, I will ask you, so jump into your keyboard and tell me what I need to put into the FMC to intercept that radial 0459. Right, so that's it. So let's brief now the departure, and off we go. Any questions so far, guys? Or everything is okay? Am I talking too fast, too loud? Let's see the departure here. So we are stand Delta 12, which is down here, all the way down here. And we are going probably to taxi to runway 13, so we might cross on Papa. We will see what ATC tells us, but we are going to depart from 13. It will be left-hand seat takeoff. If we have any malfunctions below V1, I will call stop. I will immediately and simultaneously disconnect the auto throttle, full reversers, monitor the decel, please, on your side, and then we stop on the runway. I set the brake and I call cabin crew station. We analyze the situation. If we need to evacuate, we use the checklist. If not, we call the cabin crew, normal situation, we vacate the runway. And we are not going to brief the one engine out departure here, because as you might be aware, the Fenix version 1 is not handling correctly engine failure, so it's unflyable, unfortunately. I hope version 2, which is still in progress, probably I hope that version 2 will be good in that sense, and we can start practicing one engine out. That will be perfect. Excellent. So we have briefed everything. We have briefed the departure. Everything is good. Let's have a quick look at the checklist for the cockpit preparation. Here we can see that the gear pins and covers are removed. The fuel quantity, we should have like 24,000 pounds. That's correct. And it's checked. The seatbelt sign is not yet on. So here, let me take the opportunity to show you the flows. Once we ask for start, and we will do the cockpit prep. Let's put the seatbelt sign. That doesn't make any difference. Then ADRS, they are in nav mode, and we don't have any problem here. If we go progress page, we can see high, and we have no problem with the precision. So that's perfect for us. And finally, we have the baro ref, 2965, 2965, and this guy is in hectopascal. Nothing we can do with that. All right, so this is it. Let's remove the checklist, and I will show you the what we can do with the flow. So we are going to ask the ground to the ramp, because in the US you call the ramp. Basically, they will give you always the pushback clearance, and then when you're ready to taxi, you're going to call the ground. All right, so frequency 131475, and I'm going to ask for push, and just before I'm going to ask GS6 to prepare for departure. So GS6, please prepare for pushback and departure. It's Delta Airlines, and I just need here to remove the chocks. Bing, that's it, and we can go back to Navigraph, and that's it. So let me call now 131475.
And we are ready for pushback.
Ramp, good morning, Delta 540 on Delta 12, ready for push.
Delta 540 ramp, good morning. Push and start approved, facing northeast when ready for taxi, ground point 7. Have a nice day.
Roger, push and start approved, facing northeast, and taxi on point 7. Have a nice day. Bye-bye, Delta 540. All right, so you see that we have 0.7. So in the US, most of the time, the ground, they will not tell you the whole frequency. They will not tell you contact 1217. They will tell you contact ground 0.7 or contact ground 0.9. So if you fly on VATSIM and you get that kind of information, it's completely normal. All right, so now let's see the flow. So I'm going to call the flow. And when you call the flow, this is what you get. Now we want the before start. So basically, if I choose before start, then my first officer, FSiPanel, will do all the items required for before start. So all the fuel pumps will go on, the beacon light will go on, the seatbelt sign will go on, and we're going to have the transponder to automatic. So let's call before start and see what happens. We will see the pumps. Here they go. And if we look there, we are on auto. So that's a way to basically, after landing or line up the runway, it's very, very convenient. You don't need to do it. Just make sure if you have an hardware that you follow with your flaps and your gear if you use it. All right, so we are ready to go. So facing northeast.
Release parking brakes, please.
And here we go.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Start at will. We will. Here we go. Departing. Beautiful. So we will see if the traffic is not giving us an issue today. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to turn it off. Okay, so let's start the engines. So we are going to start 2 and 1 in sequence. So engine starts to ignition start. We have a correct PSI, and we are going to start number 2. Starting 2. N2 is increasing. Then we should have the ignition A or B. Ignition. Then we are looking at the fuel flow, and we should have EGT. That looks good. Then we monitor N1 accelerating, N2 accelerating, oil pressure increasing, and we monitor the auto start on the Airbus. Very nice view. It's a nice, I think I'm using a scenery for LaGuardia. I cannot remember which one it is. I will have to look for you. It's a nice scenery. I love it. And I think it was only like $18 or something. Feel there maybe? Okay, back in the cockpit. And let's see. What you're looking at is something around, we used to call it 246, so around 20. You see a 2, you see a 4, you see a 6. And the fuel flow should stabilize at around 300 kilos.
Please set parking
And
brake.
here we have 800 pounds, so it's correct. Parking
Waiting
brake
your
set.
confirmation for a good engine start.
And we are going to start number 1 now. So the numbers 2, 4, 6. That looks good for engine start. And if you're flying in kilo, 3 to 400 kilos. Starting number 1, same procedure. Merci Marc. Bienvenue. Hey, we're starting number 1. Can you hear the engines and the simulator okay, or is it too loud, or is it too soft for the simulator? Just let me know, because on my side it looks good. I just want to make sure you have a correct audio on your side. Okay, so number 1. We have around 20, 2, 4, 6, and 2 is still increasing, and we're gonna have the avail very soon. Avail. Perfect. Thank you for the feedback, Daniel. We are all good. So 2 engines have been started. I will tell my friend on the ground that he can disconnect.
Cockpit to ground.
And now we are going to do the after start flow. So here again, I could do it myself. So the after start flow basically will be the ignition to normal. Then we turn off the APU bleed. We turn off the APU. We check if we need anti-ice. Then we go back down here, and we are going to make sure we arm the speed brake. We select the flaps 1. We make sure we have the rudder trim at 0. And we check as well what is the trim setting. So what we can do here is again call the flow. So I will call the flow. And now we want the after start, and it's asking me, you want flaps 1 or flaps 2 for departure? What do we have here in the FMC? Flaps 1, so flaps 1 is good. I click after start, and now my first officer is basically doing it. You see that the flaps have been set to 1, and we can have a look at that.
Tow truck disconnected.
Perfect.
Bypass pin removed.
Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
And everything has been done. The APU is off. The trim is set, and we just have to check here. 1, we have up 0.2, so we need to go up 0.2, and that's it. And now what I do, it's always better to do the flight control check when you're static, easier than before starting to move. So we have 1 plus F. She told us, and she showed us here the pin, so we know the aircraft is safe. We don't have anymore the nose wheel steering disconnect. And now what I can do, flight control checked. So full left, center, full right, center, full down, center, full up, center, and the rudder, full left, center, full right, center. That's it. Now we can go ahead with the after start checklist. So anti-ice is not required. ACAM status is checked. Then pitch trim, we have 0.2 up, and the rudder trim is neutral. That's it. We can request taxi. So 1 to 1.7. Ground hello, this is Delta Airlines. Delta, sorry, 540, ready taxi.
Delta 540, round hello, taxi Alpha, Echo, and all short runway 4.
Taxi Alpha Echo and all short of runway 4, Delta 540. Okay, so taxi light on, and we go. Let's have a look. So, he said via Alpha, then Echo, that's this intersection here, and all short of runway 4. Alright, so for the time being, quite easy taxi. So let's go. Lights are on, brakes release, and we can go ahead with the taxi. Here we go. So first thing you do when you start taxiing, just hit a little bit your brake, and then you say brake check, and the first officer will check that you have all the three pressure to 0 here, meaning that there is no issue with your brakes. And now we can continue the taxi. So good taxi speed is 10 knots if it's wet, 10 to 15 maximum, and then 30 knots when it's dry. Otherwise you will get called to the office. Most probably, because we have flight data monitoring, so they will not like it, and you will have to explain why you were taxiing more than 30 knots. Okay, so here we are joining Alpha. So that's the first one to the left here. Ooh la 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 la. That's what I meant. Beautiful. So I think I will not anymore fly with this FDTL. See, situation awareness. My first officer didn't check the right side. That was scary. I almost dropped my coffee, and we have traffic in front. Okay, so I think we are going to remove that FSDTL so that we have an easy flight today. So I was saying, yeah, 30 knots maximum taxi speed. Normally, if the aircraft is not too heavy, on idle she will move, so you just add a bit of thrust to start the aircraft taxiing, and then you just have to basically go idle, and she will go all the way down to the runway. Alright, let's see if I manage to remove that thing here. So that's it. And what if I do remove nearby? Is it some... let's see. I don't see anything happening. Good. What if we go reset traffic? Oh, that's one option. Okay. Reset traffic. Great. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jean-Baptiste. Highly appreciated. I try my best. It's the second stream, and I'm very nervous when I start because of the, you know, all the. I'm new into switching the screen and looking at everything, but I'm happy that I have a community like you, very happy and friendly. So that's for me priceless. Thank you very much, guys. Good. So now we can do the actions. So here the first officer will go auto brake max, and then again this is where you could use the flow, because now I'm taxiing the airplane and I don't want to look down. So what I could do is I call the flow and I go taxi procedure, and now everything will be done for you. So you just continue taxiing, and if we look there now, we have the max, and we have everything set into our predictive wind shear transponder. So basically that's the easiest way to continue on the taxiway and not end up in the grass. Okay, so we are correct, I guess. Alpha is there. And then we have a left turn, and then we should have echo on our right. Let's try the takeoff config here, and the takeoff config is normal. So let's have a look at the taxi checklist, please. Flight control were checked. The flap setting, we have conf 1 is confirmed. Then radar and PWS is on and auto. Engine mode selector, today we have it on norm. There is no severe icing and no heavy rain, so we leave it on norm. And the ECA memo, we have takeoff, no blue. So that's the taxi checklist completed. Great. Yeah, I know taxi is very boring, and on top of that we have no traffic. Imagine in real life, you stop here in that airport, you will stop every 5 seconds. You follow one guy, you give priority to that guy. So here at least we can we can just taxi the
Delta
airplane.
540, cross runway 4, taxi Echo Charlie Charlie Golf.
Okay, cross runway 4, taxi Echo Charlie Charlie Golf, Delta 540. So we are clear to cross the runway, so we are going to put some lights there. Let's put landing lights, strobe lights on. And this is Echo. So we are clear to cross. I don't see anybody left, I don't see anybody right. Let's cross. So what did you say? I love FSTTL. You can just set dynamic traffic to 0. Ah, yeah, perfect. That's good. That's a very good input. So I can put that directly into the simulator. I could put dynamic traffic to 0, and then I will have all the static on the ramp. That's what you mean. That's a very good input. Thank you very much. I was not aware of that. So yeah, that could be nice. So Echo, we crossed. Now I'm going to turn off the lights, and let's have a look at the, so Alpha Alpha, then we have Bravo Bravo, then Charlie Charlie. So we have to take Charlie Charlie, which is the third right, so that should be it right there. Turning right. And then this is the runway. So we probably line up, he said, via Golf. So that's gonna be that one here to the left, okay? No, not yet. That's the thing when you fly single man operation on the MSFS or any simulator. Looking up, looking down, and then if you're not static, sometimes it's a disaster. Okay, so this is my intersection. Cabin is ready.
Delta 540, contact tower 118.7.
1187 Delta 540, bye-bye. 118.7. Stand by. I'm going to just make sure I'm not making a mistake here. 1187, this is intersection Golf. Perfect. And departure frequency is 1204, so I will dial it right away. Now I have the option auto tuning in my FSiPanel, so that means FSiPanel will set the frequency, the next frequency for me, so I don't need to worry about that, but I will do it because this is normally what we do. Alright, so we are holding short of runway 13, and remember what we will do. So this is what we will do. Takeoff on runway 13, passing 400 feet, we will select the heading. So I will select, putting the heading mode to select heading, and I will go right heading 180. Then we have the line to follow, this one, toward Canard C, but we will use, remember, direct Canard C, radial 043. And then we should be on nav, and everything should be working perfectly well. We will monitor our departure with the VOR to make sure that everything is good. All right, so let's call tower. We are ready. Tower, hello, Delta 540 holding short 13 at Golf, ready.
Delta 540, tower, hello, runway 13, line up away.
Line up and wait, runway 13, Delta 540. Line up and wait, so let's call the flow. And now we want landing lights that I will put myself when we get a clearance to take off, and packs off takeoff, line up flow. Cabin crew, take your seat for takeoff. Now we have the lights set automatically. We should have the transponder set, so basically easy. We are lining up the runway. I will put terrain on ND on my side. Yes, Damien. I started to fly in 1998 for the airline, and I became an instructor in 2010. Here we are turning right on the runway, so what we check here is that we have the correct mode. You want to see climb nav. You want to make sure that you're on the right runway. And here we go. There is another traffic. Good.
Delta 540, wind 17015, runway 13, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 13, Delta 540. Okay, good. So we are ready for departure. Let's go. So I will just switch the lights on. Then we are going to start the time. Some airlines, they start the time at pushback. Some airlines, they want to have the flight time. Here, we're just going to have the flight time. And here we go. So takeoff, guys. Let's go. 50%. We check the engine stabilize. Your nose, the stick about 50%. Down, up to 80 knots, and then you release the pressure. So we are stable. Let's go. So we have a MAN Flex 50 SRS runway. And we have an aircraft. Auto thrust blue. Cross that runway quickly. Yeah. I will put dynamic traffic to 0 for sure. You will show me that once we get airborne. 80 knots, release the pressure. V1, rotate. Wow. Positive rate, gear up. Nav. So now we need to turn right heading 180. So I'm going to select the heading here and we can start the right turn 180. Autopilot on 180. Very nice departure from the passenger view. And now, okay, let me remove that. And now we need to insert our famous direct. So direct, Charlie Romeo India 043, insert. Look at that now. Nav is armed. We have the correct heading to intercept the radial. Climb thrust. Pack 2 goes on. Now we wait at least 10 seconds and we will put pack 1 on. Okay, and pack 1 on. So you can see now
Delta
the radial
540,
here.
contact departure, safe flight.
Departure, bye-bye, thank you, Delta 540. Departure, hello, Delta 540, 2400, climbing 5000.
Delta 540, identified, climb 9,000 feet.
Climb 900,000 feet, Delta 540. 900,000 feet set. So you can see here the intercept. If we go to the VOR, this is the radial, canard C. In the VOR, and you can see that the radial is coming in, the aircraft is turning to the right, and if we go to the arc mode here, it's beautiful. You see that she's doing it a perfect job. Speed check, flaps up. We are established on the radial, so to be established on the radial, legally you need to be within 1 dot. So we are established, so I can increase the speed above 230 knots. Okay, flaps are up. Now we're going to do the flows here, and that's it. So now if we look to the left, guys, this is why we have to be very careful. You have Kennedy Airport right there, you can see that. So there they will turn left immediately and they have a lower altitude. So this is why if you fly VATSIM in the US, make sure you fly exactly that radial like we did now. As you can see now, we are perfectly well to CRI on the radial 043. If I go back to VOR, you can see that we are perfectly centered. So this is what we should do. And then, because we entered the point 30 miles away, she will continue exactly on the radial. Very straightforward. So that's the best way you can fly the departure if you want to be safe. And you just monitor what she's doing. Okay, I think I have all the way traffic now, so that was not a very good idea. Let's hope we don't get a TCAS, otherwise it's going to be interesting. Alright, climbing to 9,000 feet, and then the next thing we will expect is probably vectors to join this Papa Tango Whiskey Radial 059. So let's see. Now we pass Canard C. For the passengers on the left side, they just saw the Canadian airspace. On the right side, still we can see the beautiful New York. And for us, we see nothing anymore. That's it.
Traffic.
Okay, traffic 1,000 below. So we are climbing, is steady, so it should not be an issue for us. Perfect. Reaching 9,000 feet. Here what you will do is go vertical speed, but she's capturing, so it was too late. Just to avoid any TCAS. In this kind of airspace, it's always good when you're reaching your altitude, just go vertical speed 1,000, and that will be very easy. And good for the other traffic as well. Okay, here we go. You see now we are flying all the way to the waypoint, and I even put an overfly, so there is no risk. We are just waiting for ATC to tell us to do something. Hopefully they will, because right now I feel like we are lost in space here. Alt is star, we're good, 9,000. Yeah, the traffic is generated by FSiPanel. This is a training scenario, so it's all coming from FSiPanel. Exactly.
Delta 540, turn right heading 300 and contact the New York Center 127.6. That's you.
Roger, right turn heading 300 and contact New York Center 1276, Delta 540, bye-bye. Okay, heading 300, we make sure we have heading, and 1276 is New York Center. New York Center, very good morning, Delta 540, maintaining 9,000 feet on the right turn heading 300.
Delta 540 morning, climb 13,000 feet.
Climb 13,000 feet, Delta 540. Okay, 13,000, if I push climb, nothing's gonna happen because I'm on heading mode, so I need to go up and climb. So up and climb, 13,000 feet. And here we climb. Approaching 10,000 feet, we do a couple of actions there. We will start by turning off the lights. No need anymore. If weather permit, seatbelt sign can go off. Then something important, check your pressurization. We have an increase of PSI, and the rate of climb around 500 feet per minute. PSI is increasing, so we know the pressurization is working perfectly well. We make sure that we are listening on 121.5. In case we lose a communication, then they can contact us, and we can delete anything we put into our fix info. If not required anymore, we can just clear that like this. And another important point, we force here the MCDU to stay on Charlie Romeo India, and now we will give her the clearance to do whatever she wants to have her computation, and that's it. And we continue the climb. Perfect. 1,000 is passed. So now we need to prepare this famous radial. So guys, the next thing probably is going to be to intercept this Papa Tango Whiskey radial 059. So any idea what I should put into the MCDU? What I want to do is put one line here. I want to go direct something, and I want to see my line here so that I know where I am and where is my radial. So who is going to tell me what to do now? We saw that in the departure brief. So any ID, just write it down. Okay, we have traffic again. That's below us. That's fine. And 13,000 still. It's a beautiful area, yeah. Wow. We can see Lana, so that's probably the waypoint we are going, or something similar. We need to go on the radial 059. Alstar, 13,000.
Delta 540, turn left heading 280.
Turn left heading 280, Delta 540. Okay, heading 280 is set. Perfect. And now we are going to program our FMC for this famous radial. So if we check there, we have this radial 059. It says right there, if I can zoom it for you. Lana departure, expect vectors to Papa Tango Whiskey radial 059. So Squawk 7000, Papa Tango Whiskey 059, yeah? That's correct, that's what we will do. So we will take Papa Tango Whiskey on top, direct to, and the radial. This time we want the radial 059. If we do that, this is the line. I'm happy with that. I execute. Now be careful one thing, when you do that on the Airbus, nav is armed, but we haven't been cleared by ATC. So we cannot just intercept if we are not cleared. So what you will do, just go select heading again, 280, and now you are sure that she will not intercept that radial, because the clearance is to expect vectors, not to intercept. So be careful on that. Make sure you don't have nav armed, unless you are cleared, of course. So that's what we do. What we will do as well is we are going to dial in the frequency. So for that, we can, if I go direct to Papa Tango Whiskey, we have it here, and we can check the frequency 116.5. So I can force it by going to radio navigation again, Papa Tango
Delta
Whiskey.
540, climb flight level 220 and intercept radial 059 inbound Podstone.
Roger, climb 220 and intercept radial 059 inbound Podstone, Delta 540. 220, open climb, thrust climb, and now I need to arm navigation, and I have nav armed. So what I was doing here is select Papa Tango Whiskey, and the course again is not 059, this is the radial. The inbound course is the opposite, so that's gonna be 239. And we will be able to check if everything is working. One thing with the MSFS is that your VOR will only show when you're around 40 to 35 to 40 miles. So in the real aircraft, you will see it way earlier. But here, as you can see, I have no reception. So that's the MSFS. So here we go. We are now 9.1 miles, 9 miles left of what we should intercept. So if you do that technique, it's very easy because you always know how far you are from what you need to do. So here I can see that I'm 8.2 miles right now left of what I'm supposed to fly, which is the radial 059 inbound Papa Tango Whiskey. So it's very easy to program, and that's it. So I'm showing you that today because I plan to do a live stream where we are going to program ourselves pilot waypoint to do a circling, a complete takeoff, left turn, and back to the airport that we can use for daily training without having to lose time when we want to do just circuit. So here we can create our own circuit by using pilot waypoints. So this is why I'm showing you a little bit the basic today, and then next time or another stream we will try to do this circling approach all the time and do some circling. Alright, so you can see now we are 4.5 miles away, and you can see 36 miles. So now if I go to VOR here, we can see, let me remove number 2 so we have a better picture. This is the actual QDM. So QDM is the course toward the station. So we are right now on 245, and we need to take, we said 239. When that needle, the needle always drop. She will never go on the other side. Remember, the needle always drop. When she comes exactly there, we'll be on the radial. That line is coming in as well. The radial is coming in, and the nav has been captured, as you can see right there. So the aircraft is turning left. That's perfect. That's what we were expecting. And we are going exactly on the radial. Have a look at that. And we fly in nav. We don't have to worry about turning to a line. Of course, we could have put a fix, but that's not the proper way to do it. What I mean by a fix is just go flight plan, just select here and put your fix information and put Papa Tango Whiskey with the radial. Okay, passing transition altitude. Standard, and we go standard on that one as well, 1013, and we cross-check the altimeter, 18.9, checked, cross-check, and junior is good as well. See the radial? Perfectly aligned. And if I go to arc, we are perfectly aligned as well. So that's what we want to do. And of course now I don't need any more that one. That was just to check that everything was good. So now I can just clear it and give the clearance again to the FMC flight plan. Now let's see if you know something that is very interesting that we use sometimes on the MCDU, because today we are talking about the MCDU. You want to be 2 miles right of track. We call it SLOPE, Strategic Lateral Offset Procedures. In some countries like Africa, some countries in Africa, in Asia, over oceanic, we don't have correct, sometimes the ATC is not very good, so they implement a slope. So basically I'm flying
Delta
1 to 2 miles to the right.
Climb flight level 300, 300.
Climb level 300, Delta 540. 300, and we have climb, thrust climb. So I want to fly, let's say, 1 or 2 miles to the right. It's always to the right. Why? Because if somebody is coming in front of me and he has to apply the same procedure, he will also go 1 or 2 miles to his right. And that will give us a separation, because he will be on that side and I will be on that side. So we call it slope. So sometimes you may hear that on VATSIM, because if you really follow the procedures and you're flying in some part of the world where you have to do slope, then that's going to be a requirement. So to enter that, you go to the next waypoint, for example, and here you can see offset. So you go offset, and now you tell your FMC, your MCDU, sorry, I want to go 1 mile to the right. So now you can see the amber line, and I can insert it, and now the aircraft is going all the way through the flight plan 1 mile to the right, except when we are coming to a star, because the star is most likely RNP1 and this is not allowed anymore, so then the aircraft will automatically revert to 0. But here, as you can see, easy, she's going to the right and she will go 1 mile to the right. So that's something you may hear in VATSIM, maybe. And if you have one guy flying the exact same airway, normally we crush really 12 o'clock, you will see it in front of you, then he will be on your left, because he will also divert to the right 1 or 2 miles. This is up to him. So we increase the separation. So that's a nice way when you're over ocean or over the over Africa to make sure you're away from the traffic. Good. So that's what we can do with the offset. And if you want to cancel the offset, you just go back to here, offset, and you can clear it, insert, and that's it. We are back. The aircraft is going back to the normal routing. As easy as that. So that's the kind of things you can have. Good, Jean-Baptiste. Bonne nuit. Have a good night. And good luck for tomorrow 4 a.m. That's very early. All right. So we are continuing the climb. We are going to Papa Tango Whiskey. And then B-Rod. Everything looks good so far. We'll see what happens next. Always check from time to time your pressurization to make sure everything is fine. We have a traffic here, but some traffic around. This is because of FSDTL that I was using. And let's see. Soon we'll be in the Washington airspace, so we will be transferred, I guess. Bonne nuit. Yeah, maybe I should do some stream in French as well. Very short ones, we'll see. But in English, it's nice, and I'm very happy to have you guys. Very nice audience. Okay, here we go. Another traffic right there, 24.5, climbing. Did you hear something? Okay, master caution. We have electrical generator 1.4. Cancel caution. Master caution is cancelled. My aircraft, my ATC, and ECAM action, please. All right, so now we have a problem right there. So let's have a look at this. We have the electrical generator 1 fault. So we can see that generator 2 from the right engine is providing electricity to the AC2 and then to the DC2 via the TRU. Then we are very lucky because we have a cross bus tie. I will show you on the overhead panel right there, which has immediately closed the bus here to make sure our AC1 is as well powered. So AC1 is powered, and we have basically everything working. But we have a problem because we only have one AC source so far, and this is not good. We cannot continue the flight. We need to find some way to have two AC sources. So first we'll do the ECAM action, and then if you have an idea what we can do, let me know. So first, generator 1 off, then on. So I will go generator 1 off, and we will wait 10 seconds, and we will put it back on. Okay, back on. If unsuccessful, so it's unsuccessful unfortunately, so generator 1 off. Okay, that's it, clear. Electrical generator 1 fault checked. Status, we have Cat 3 dual inoperative. Main galley, so they are missing some electricity in the back, and the generator 1 is inop. We have Cat 3 single only, clear status. Okay, so now what can we do? Any idea, guys, what we can do? It's not very comfortable, because if we lose the other generator, then all my screen's gonna go black and we're gonna be in electrical emergency. The rat will deploy, and this is not an easy way. Yeah, very good, Pedro. We need to start the APU, yeah? Above 20,000 feet, it might take a bit of time, but it's worth to do it. So we start the APU. If we have a look on the overhead panel, let me see if I can find the overhead panel. Yeah, this is what I was mentioning, this bus tie. If it's on automatic, we lost the generator 1. Immediately this bus tie find out and it closed, and therefore generator 2 was able to power the whole aircraft. If we turn that one off, then we're gonna be in big trouble. So I'll let you try it on your scenario if you want. Everything is gonna go crazy and the rat might deploy and it's gonna be a mess. So we start the APU, and then we should be back with 2 generators, then we can continue our flight. We don't have to worry about diversion if the APU starts. So this is what we are monitoring now. The higher the altitude, the longer it takes, and the more chance you have that you need maybe 2 or 3 start attempts to start the APU. So we'll see. It looks like it's gonna start, reaching 80%. And what we want to see is that the APU is taking some power, and we have here 115 volts, 300 and 400 hertz, which is the correct frequency. And now if I go to electrical, I can see that I have my right bus powered by the generator 2, and the left bus is powered by the APU, and then everything is powered normally. Oh, what is this now?
Oh yes, this is cockpit, go ahead.
Hi Captain, this is Jenny, one left. I have one passenger is complaining of chest pain and having difficulties breathing. I called the page for a doctor, we found one, and he's looking at the passenger right now. I will let you know how it goes. Right now he is under oxygen, and the doctor is making a diagnostic, so a diagnose, and I'll be able to let you know in a couple of minutes.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Let me know as soon as possible. Thank you. All right, so this is the kind of things you can have in flight. So now we will not wait 15 minutes or 5 minutes until we get the diagnose. We're going to be a little bit proactive. Now we need to check what options do we have. So basically for decision making, most airlines have a tool. So for us, I always use in my life foredeck. We start with F, which is what is the fact. The fact is we have a problem, we might divert. Now we look for O, options. What are the options? So let's see the airports. And you don't want to divert to an airport where they don't have any stairs, they don't have any fuel, and then you just land and you find out that you cannot depart. So basically, if you will go to data here and you go to closest airport, it might give you airports very close. So this is already too close for us because we need to descend. And you don't want to check all these airports and finally they don't have stairs, they don't have fuel, you cannot depart anymore. So we are looking for Delta Airlines airports. So we have here, we have Washington Dulles, which is close by NOTAM. We have Washington Ronald Reagan. We have Baltimore right there. So this is a base, and the NOTAM company NOTAM told us this is probably a good thing. So we'll concentrate on that one, maybe Kilo Delta Charlie Alpha. So we have options. So now we do the risk and benefit. So we are going to compare what is the risk of going to this airport rather than going to Baltimore. What is the benefit? So this is a talk between the first officer and myself. And then we come to the D, of the foredeck, which is decision. So now the captain will say, okay, if we have a problem, we divert to Kilo Delta Charlie Alpha. Then we will have the E, which is execute. Then I will tell my first officer, inform ATC. I will do the cabin crew. I will call the cabin crew. I will give them a briefing. I will do a quick PA. And then we have the last C, which is
Delta
check and review.
540 over to Washington Center. The frequency is 13415. I would like.
13415 for Delta 540. Bye-bye. Okay, 13415. Washington Center, hello, Delta 540, maintaining 300 to Echo Mike India.
Delta 540 Washington Center, good morning. Your radar contact, fly direct Casanova VOR. This is Charlie Sierra November.
Roger, direct Charlie Sierra November. Thank you, Delta 540. Maybe you saw that one, a beam point. If I click a beam point and I execute, then I'm going to have a point which is a beam Echo Mike India if you want to do fuel check, for example. Alright, see, so if you, the last one I was saying you is a C, which is check and review. So check and review is any time you have a change. Let's say now we have another emergency or we have another problem with the aircraft. Then we review everything to make sure that our decision to go there is still the best. Otherwise we will change.
Yes, this is cockpit, go ahead.
Hi, Captain, again, Jenny 1 left. The doctor strongly advised us to divert the aircraft as soon as possible, as it is probably a heart attack. So the doctor says we should be on the ground within half an hour if we want to have a chance to save the passenger.
I copy, thank you. We'll let you know. We probably divert to Washington. Okay, so now we got the information that we should divert at time. I started the
Delta
time.
540, Mayday is cockpit. Turn left heading 220 and descend flight level 180. Expect vectors for river visual approach runway 19 at Ronald Reagan. No speed restriction.
Roger. Descend 180 and left heading 220 to divert to Kilo Delta Charlie Alpha. No speed restriction. Thank you for Delta 540. Heading is selected. Up descent 180. The aircraft has started the descent. I will revert here to speed whenever we can by going manual speed. And what I will do, this is to make sure we don't have an overspeed. And we will extend the speed brake. The idea here is we are very close, as you can see here, to Ronald Reagan. So we have to descend as quick as possible and try to land within half an hour. So now everything goes fast. We need to brief the approach and prepare everything. So let's have a look at that approach now. So here we're gonna have to select the alternate. So let's see, it's a Kilo Delta Charlie Alpha. Enter. And now I need the approach, and we want to go for the, he said, river visual 19. So that's the one. So we can have a quick look on this. 2600 for the highest MSA, that's not a problem. We are starting the approach at Fergie. It's recommended to be 3000. Then we follow basically the river. 6 miles, we should be 1800. Then 4 miles, we should be 1500. Then we go 3 miles over the bridge at 900, and then we line up the runway. So the distance is based on Delta Charlie Alpha. Okay, so let's try to get ready. First thing we want to do, change the destination. So we go here, seatbelt sign on for the passengers, and I will just tell a quick PA to the passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, your captain speaking. Unfortunately, due to the medical emergency that you saw in the cabin, we have to divert to Washington Ronald Reagan Airport. We should be on the ground within 15 minutes. Our ground staff will give you more information as soon as we park the aircraft. Thank you for understanding. All right, this is done, and now we can concentrate. So we are going down in open climb, open descent. I can increase the speed. I need to go down because the track mile is very, very, very short. So we are going to change the destination. So here we go, new destination, Kilo Delta Charlie Alpha. Insert. Then the first waypoint we saw for the approach is Fergie. So I'll go direct Fergie. Here, insert. We are not clear to Fergie. I go back to heading. And now what we need to set is the radio navigation. So we are going to force here Delta Charlie Alpha. So we have a DME distance. That's what we want to see. 27 miles. And then what we can do is a fix info. So what I'll do, fix info, and I will put
Delta 540, continue descent, 9,000 feet, altimeter 2965.
continue descent 9,000 feet, 2965. Thank you, Delta 540. Okay, so we are going now 9,000 feet, 2965. So 2965, 2965. And let's continue. What we wanted to do is DCA. And we want to put 6 miles. Because we need to be at 1800. Then I will put DCA 4 miles. Was it 4? Yeah, it was 4. So let's see what she said. Flight control speed brake is still out. That's correct. Yeah, that's what I want. 4 miles. And finally, the last one, we're gonna put 3 miles. Here, 3 miles distance. Now we should have our 3 circle. That's it, we can see that. And we are going to put the arrival. So flight plan, arrival, we are going for visual. So I'm just gonna put 19 here. That's it, insert.
Delta 540, I see you're a bit high. Turn right heading 320 and for further instruction contact Potomac approach 119.85. Good landing.
Roger, thank you. Right turn heading 320 when we go over to Potomac approach on 119.85, the Delta 540. Okay, heading 320, 119.85. Here we go. And what she wants now, we are going to clear up that. So you see, something I wanted to talk, it's very quick. And one thing you don't want to do is kill everybody to save 1 passenger. So if you see that it's not going to work, then take your time. There is no reason to kill everybody just for 1 passenger. I know it's rushed, but this is the thing. So we have to contact these guys. Potomac approach, hello, this is Delta 540 on a right turn 320.
Delta 540, Potomac approach, good morning, you are identified. Descent 5,000 feet, altimeter 2965, expedited descent, and expect a left turn to Fergie in around 2 to 3 miles.
Roger, 5,000 feet, expecting left turn Fergie, Delta 540. So no speed limit, so I will keep the speed high now, even though we are below 10,000, because he said no speed limit. So the MCDU is set, we just need the performance, and the next phase, we are just going to set the approach there. So 2965, and we are going to check the ATIS in a minute. ATIS is always on 12345.
Turn left heading 140.
Left heading 140, Delta 540. 140. Here we go. So you see here you're getting buzzy, but we are still under control. The pilot is flying easy. I see Fergie, which is on my left. I'm reaching 5,000 feet. I can start to reduce slowly the speed. So when we are 6,000, I will put here 240 knots. I will keep the speed brake extended to slow down the aircraft. And now we just have a quick look at the ATIS.
Reagan Airport ATIS information Bravo. Washington Ronald Reagan Airport ATIS information Bravo. Wind 160 at 15. Visibility 10. 4,000 scattered. 8,000 scattered. Temperature 192.12. Altimeter 2965. Expect visual approach runway 19. Advice on initial contact. You have Washington Ronald Reagan Airport ATIS information Bravo.
Okay, so we have everything there. Everything is set. We don't need to put a minimum. We are visual. So now the speed brake can be retracted. And let's do a descent checklist to make sure we have everything done here for the approach. So barrel ref, we have 2965 on both sides. That's correct. And I'm reading 5,000, 5,000 on your side. And this guy is not set. So that guy should be set to 1004. Perfect. Then we have seatbelt on. Yeah. Minimum is visual. Then auto brake, we have medium. We're gonna check that, and engine mode selector is on norm. So let's have a quick look now into our performance. KDCA, runway 19, braking action is dry. Wind was 17014. 19 degrees, 19 and 2. 965. Landing weight 150,000 pounds. 150.0.
Delta 540, descend 3,000 feet, proceed direct to Fergie, and you are clear, river visual 19.
Roger, descend 3,000 feet, direct Fergie, and clear for the river visual 19, Delta 540, sorry. So direct to Fergie, insert, nav, 3,000 feet, open climb, speed now 230 knots. This is Fergie, 6 miles, 4 miles, 3 miles. This is the river, so we have to go all the way down the river to reach the airport. Great, so let's see. We see that with medium, we're gonna be able to stop. So I'll go medium. And we have set everything. So now we need to concentrate on that approach. So 6 miles recommended is 1,800 feet. Then 4 miles is gonna be 1,500 over the reservoir. And then 900 feet over the last bridge. So this is what we need to make sure. So basically easy to remember, 6 times 3, 1,800. Reservoir 1,500, and then we go 900 over the bridge. Okay, so Fergie. Thank you, Simone. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the tip. So what we can do now, if it's not already done, is activate the approach. That's done. Then we can give the control of the speed manage. Then the aircraft will reduce to the green dot. And we have traffic around, so I hope that's not going to be a problem for us. I will take it manually as soon as we're in Fergie, and then we fly the river. If you see something going wrong, let me know.
Tower frequency 1190.1.
1190.1, thank you, Delta 540. Tower hello, Delta 540, we are on the river visual approach runway 19.
Delta 540, the wind is
Flaps
170 at 13 knots, runway 19, clear to land, and please stop on the runway and shut down the engine. Fire brigade and assistance will meet you directly at the aircraft.
Roger, clear to land 19, we'll stop on the runway, thank you, Delta 540. Okay, autopilot comes off. Now we fly manually, flight director goes off. Then I will go heading track so I can see my rate of descent here in degrees. Usually 3 degrees is a good indication when the tip of the aircraft is on the horizon. And now we fly the river. So let's go flaps 2. So we have an easy approach. Here I will set 6,000 so the cockpit is quiet. This is because we are leaving the altitude. And we are going down now to 1,800 at 6 miles. We can see as well here the DME distance. So the idea here is to be 1,800 at 6 miles. And along the river, so now we fly visually. We have set the light, yeah, all good. 1,800, this is the bridge here. So 1,800 feet, recommended. So it's not a big deal if you're too high or too low, as long as you make it. And you're safe. So here we go the river. And we are reaching 1,800 feet, so we'll try to level off a little bit here. And this is the reservoir, you see. So the reservoir is right there, and that's 1,500 feet. It's recommended. So let's go gear down. Flaps 3. Arm the speed brake. And 1,500 feet we try to maintain. Next will be 900 feet over the last bridge here. So here everything comes very fast. We need to concentrate here. Speed brake didn't arm. Okay, good. Turning to the left. We're gonna have the Pentagon right here, I think, on the final turn. If you, that's the Pentagon. Flaps full. Landing checklist. So we have landing memo, no blue, all good. 900 feet. So now we try to descend with around 3 degrees, still over the river. And we need to be around 900 feet right there. So that's the challenge there now. This is the Washington Monument. We have the Capitol. White House will be around there, somewhere here, I think. Okay, 900 feet over the bridge. We can see the airport right there. So here, if I look to the right, I can see probably not yet. I would see the Pentagon. And now we need to concentrate on the right turn. So we are going to the runway. Here's the Pentagon. Yeah. Still over the river. Look at the rate of descent, around 3 degrees. This is the Pentagon here, guys. So this is a real approach. It's beautiful. And we need to go on the runway here. So we start looking now for the possible PAPI lights. So we know if we are too high, too low. What I can see is one white, one red. So it doesn't look too bad. And here, as the speed is low, we will try to do 15 degrees turn to final.
500.
So whenever you think you should turn, start a 15 degrees turn. So here's the right time. And I continue to descend. And I keep around 15 degrees.
400.
We are on the profile, on the PAPI. We continue to fly down, following the PAPI.
300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
Okay, reverses, descend. And as she said, we will stop on the runway to let the ambulance come. Out of reverses, 70 knots. Parking brake is set. Then we tell the cabin, tension crest station, so they get ready for anything. And now we'll do a quick after landing just to put the aircraft in a state where we can basically shut down the engine safely. So I'll do the after landing flow. First officer is doing it. The only thing we will do, we will not turn off the seatbelt sign. So everything is done, and I will shut down the engine here. APU bleed, and the engines are shut down. Now we can do the shutdown checklist. What we'll do here, beacon. I will keep the seatbelt sign because I don't want the passengers to stand up until the passenger is safe. So just the beacon light. I will turn off the pumps. And then I will turn off the transponder.
Hi guys,
so
JP,
the aircraft
well
is
done.
safe.
You save his life. So we are on the ground and safe. I hope you enjoyed this scenario. Any comment, please feel free to drop it in the Discord channel or in the forum. See you next time and stay safe. Bye-bye.
All right. That's it, guys. We landed. We are stopped on the runway, and the guy will get some help now. So, yeah, it's a very nice one. The weather is good. And the only thing you have to worry about is it goes fast. So you have to descend immediately if you fly it yourself. As soon as you go to Kilo Delta Charlie Alpha, increase your speed, go open climb, extend your speed brake, and go down. And don't worry about the speed. He said no speed limitation, so below 10,000, keep the speed as high as you can. Reaching 5,000, retract your speed brake, and then be conservative reaching Fergie around 3,000 feet, and then Fergie flaps 1, go flaps 2, and then easy fly the river, and it's a beautiful approach to fly. You might struggle here with the right turn, so be careful here. Just stay as much as possible to the left of the river, so it gives you more space for the turn. Yeah, I was a little bit in the center or even to the right, but it worked nicely. I would go more to the left, so my right turn will be much easier. So that's what I will recommend you. And then land, stop on the runway, and do not shut down the engine immediately. This is as well a big trap, and we see it in the sim a lot. People will just land and shut down the engine. And then we have the flaps, the hydraulic, everything is not set. So just land, stop the aircraft, do the after landing flow like you were vacating the runway. Then do the shutdown flow, and then let the guy be safe. That's it. Okay, guys, I'm happy to see that somebody is living here. I have to keep now. So, Piero, thank you very much, and it was nice your answer before with the APU, as well as a Squawk 7000 as the right answer as well. Thank you for joining the show, and thank you for the nice comment here, Daniel. I'm happy you like it. Quite busy, but looked so easy. Yeah. So yeah, it's easy if you fly with the automation. So always maintain the automation, and if ATC rush you, take your time. You see, when it tells me to turn left heading 140, if you're not happy, just continue 320 for a couple of miles and then turn left. Okay, do not rush too much, and then you end up yourself into a big trouble. All right, so that's the end of the first scenario. Guys, do you want to see the... I can show you what the user told me, and then you tell me if you want to see it or if you want to leave it for another stream. This is... Let me put here what he wanted to do. It was in Salzburg, Lima Oscar Whiskey Sierra. So that's in Europe. Now it's a complete different thing. And the approach that he wanted to do, that he was not able to set up, is the RNP Yankee. It's an AR approach. So you can see that approach here is over terrain and with a very tight turn here on final. It's a new approach, and you can start it from Whiskey Sierra 831. So it will take us a couple of minutes to set up, and let's say 5 minutes to fly it. And then we could do it. So if you're happy to do that, I can show you that quickly. We'll take a break, 5 minutes. I will reset the simulator, and then we can give it a shot, and I'll show you how you can program that in 5 minutes on your FSiPanel if you want to fly it a couple of times. What we could do is start from the holding right there and then fly the whole approach and see how it goes. So if you're willing for that, I'm happy to go and do it for you. So if you're leaving before the second part, thank you very much, guys, for being here. It means a lot to me to have you here watching that and for your participation. And if you stay here for the second part, it's going to be a very short second part, probably like maximum half an hour, just to demonstrate that, how to set up the approach. And the approach, as you can see, is very fast. 5 miles, we go downwind, we turn final, and we land. So if everything goes as planned, and that will push the Fenix really to the maximum. So if the aircraft can handle that, this is great, because you see here the turn on final is very tight, and the minimum is very low as well. So basically you can see the runway almost on shot final. So yeah, we can give it a shot. All right, so I'll just go on a quick break to reset the sim, and I see you in let's say 3 to 5 minutes maximum, directly on the runway in Salzburg, engines running, and then we will set up the approach. All right, see you in a few minutes. Thank you, guys. All right, here we are, guys. Thank you for staying with me for that quick demonstration. I just basically loaded the Fenix A320 now in Salzburg on runway 33, and I set quite a low setting on the weather just to see the capability of the aircraft. And what we are going to do now is this approach. So I will set the weight first for the aircraft. As this is not a training scenario yet, I will do it because it's an interesting approach and airport. So we are going to have the next training scenario in probably Salzburg. That's a good. That was a hint given by some of you, so that's probably what we will do. So here, what I want to do is set the weight for the aircraft before I move it. So what we will do, we'll take an aircraft and we are going to load it with, let's say, 130 passenger, few cargo, and we are going to take around 4 tons of fuel. Something like that, and I will load it instant. Okay, so now the aircraft is loaded, and now we can have a look at this approach and how to set it up. So what we will do is we can brief it once we are in the holding, so then you will see as well how we can set up the holding, or the aircraft will fly the holding, and we hopefully see the performance of the Fenix A320. It's a difficult approach, so I don't know how she will perform. We're gonna have a look and see. So here the idea is to position the aircraft right there, okay? So this is where my pilot that sent me a message got stuck, how to set this approach. So the best way to do here is, if you have a star, then you find a star which has this waypoint somewhere in the star. Unfortunately, it told me it's not available, so this Whiskey Sierra 831 is not in a star. So what we need to do is simply create a pilot waypoint. And what we will do with the pilot waypoint is put ourselves, so now that we know what is a radial and what is a course. So this is the course 175 toward Whiskey Sierra 175, course 175 toward Whiskey Sierra 831, and this is the radial, which is the opposite of 175, okay? So that's 355, the opposite. So we are going to take Whiskey Sierra 831, we're going to put radial 355, and we are going to put like 8 miles, and the inbound heading will be 175, and we'll put the aircraft at 5,000 feet, and that should do. So let's start FSiPanel, and let's try to program that. Okay, here we are, Salzburg runway 33. So select fix, we are going to create a pilot waypoint. It's a new waypoint. So here pick a navade. Okay, the navade is it a fix? It's a fix, sorry, it's a Whiskey Sierra. Okay, I don't remember already. So what was the waypoint here? Whiskey Sierra 831. So Whiskey Sierra 831, so I need to put Whiskey Sierra 831, search, take it, select the waypoint. Now this is my reference. Now the radial, we said it's the opposite. This is the course, the radial is then 355. So I'm going to put 355. And we are going to put a distance, let's say, of 8 miles. That's good enough. Compute coordinate. So this is now the coordinate of my aircraft. 8 miles north of the waypoint Whiskey Sierra 831. Default altitude 5,000 feet. The heading will be the opposite, so we want the heading to be 175. Then the aircraft will be clean, that's fine. And we are going to put here Whiskey 7831, and this is going to be RNP 33 AR. Save waypoint. Waypoint has been created. If you want me to share that waypoint, I could share it on the Discord channel, then you can just import it by drag and drop it. So you just need to drag and drop the file on your FSiPanel main window, and that will be available in your custom pilot waypoint if you don't want to create it. So I'm going to select it, validate, and basically that's everything I need to do, right? So let's see if the aircraft goes in the right position. So I'm going to click Move Aircraft, and we are back in the sim. And now we just wait for FSiPanel to do the work. So it will set the altitude 5,000 feet. And now it's telling me to set the thrust lever to climb, and off we go.
Terrain ahead, pull up.
So now, as always, do not touch anything. And once everything is ready, we are going to program the MCDU. And we put the holding, we take control, we do a quick brief, and we check Fenix performance. And I will be very impressed if she can fly that all the way down to minimum and be stabilized. But it's a nice aircraft, so let's see. That's good. All right, perfect. Okay, so Salzburg is in front of us. That's already good news. Let me dim a little bit here. And we will let... okay, you know why? This is a typical example where I was telling you. We are in pound in FSiPanel, and I choose Austrian Airlines, which is in kilo. So this is why here FSiPanel was unable to set the correct weight because of the unit. So that's one of the trap. If you fly with the Fenix, make sure that you have the right unit. Okay, so here we just need to set the zero fuel weight. So the zero fuel weight of the aircraft is how much? Phoenix. And we have a zero fuel weight of 55.3. 55.3. And we have a zero fuel CG, which is 30.0. Good. Alright, so here we are. FSiPanel is telling me that aircraft is ready, hold your brakes. So now, as you know, you are in position freeze. So it's the time to set everything. So let's do that together. So we go flight plan. We select destination, arrival, and we are going to select the AirNav Yankee, runway 33. Then VIA, and we have two waypoints, 831, 832, and we position for 831. So we are going to select 831 right there and insert. Good news for us, we didn't screw it up. 831 is in front of us. That's perfect. Then we are going for performance, and we are going to set the approach there. So 1020 I can see as the QNH. 20. Here we go. Temperature, how much we have here? Around 15 degrees, so that's quite important. So let me bring the weather from the simulator, otherwise the aircraft, it might impair what she's doing, and then I will put the fault on the aircraft, and in fact it's my fault. So that will not be very fair for Fenix. So let's have a look at what kind of 1020, 14 degrees, that's correct, 14 degrees, and the wind is 320, about 12 miles, 12 knots. So 320, 12 knots, 320, 12 knots, perfect, and 14 degrees. So 320, 12 knots. (14 degrees), and that's about it. We need the minimum, and the minimum is 1790. 1790. Big. All right, so now if we want to go direct to Whiskey 831, I can put it direct, insert, that's it, and now I can put the hold, and the hold is 175 left turn, hold, inbound track 175, and it's a left turn, insert. So now I can take control of the aircraft. So I hold my brake now, and FSiPanel is telling me that aircraft is ready, I have control. So now we are flying toward Whiskey Sierra 831. The speed is managed, so the aircraft will automatically reduce to up speed, reaching the holding altitude. The holding point, sorry, this is because she wants to hold at up speed, the most economical speed. Alright, so if we have a quick look at the progress page here, we can see GPS predictive. Normally we should have all yes, because we started in the air, so disregard that. If we go progress page, we can see high, estimated 0.03, we need 1, and then during the approach we will need, I think, 0.3 on that one. RNP 0.3, I think it should be written down here for the requirements. Where is it? Here, RNP 0.3. So we are well into the tolerance. Alright, so we are reducing the speed, we are ready for the approach, we have the minimum. Let's give it a shot. So we can leave the hold and start the approach, so I don't keep you busy too long. So let's exit the holding. And when we do that, she will accelerate. So just go back. You see the speed will go back to 250. So the best thing to do is to activate the approach already. And now we can go back to manage. Perfect. So we are turning left toward Whiskey Sierra 833. 5,000 feet we have to maintain until the final approach point, which is Whiskey Sierra 834. At that point we should be on final approach mode. So this is something we need to check, and we need to be fully configured by Whiskey Sierra 834. So that's important. In case of missed approach, straight ahead to Whiskey Sierra 831, climb 6,000 and hold. Okay. So Whiskey Sierra 834 fully stabilized. So a good thing to do is take a fix, put Whiskey Sierra 834. Here we go, and you put a radius of 2 miles. So now you know that from that position I have to go flaps 2. Okay, so now we are good. Let's see how she flies that. So we are Whiskey Sierra 833. I'll go flaps 1 already. And have a look outside here. How is it? It's a beautiful approach. Beautiful airports to fly in. I flew it a couple of times when I was in Europe. At the beginning of my career, we were flying a lot to Austria, and that was one of my favorite airports with Innsbruck. Alright, so we are turning now right. As you can see, very nice handling for the time being. So she's maintaining S speed, and at that circle we will go flaps 2. When flaps 2 are extended, we'll go gear down flaps 3, and just before descent flaps full, and we do the landing checklist. So everything looks good. Let's see how she managed the descent. Once you see that the active waypoint is the final approach point, in that case Whiskey Sierra 834, you can see final approach point, you can arm the approach. And when we arm the approach, we're expecting funnel to be armed, and we are in approach nav. Perfect. So everything looks correct so far. Another thing we forgot to check is that you have the correct 3 degrees descent, which we can see here, and that we cross-check with the chart. Otherwise, if we have a difference here, we will not fly the approach. Okay, so waiting here for this 2 DME. You can see the DME as well right there. Once we are 2 DME, of course, this is just something very easy to remember. If you put 2 DME, and at this point here you go flaps 2, you will see that it works like a charm. So 2 DME before your final approach point. We are right now. I will go flaps 2. Now the aircraft will reduce the speed. We see flaps 2 selected. We can see that here. Now we go gear down. Set the lights here. Arm the speed brake. And we go flaps 3. Now we're expecting here the aircraft to reach Whiskey Sierra 834 and to start descent. We should see final becoming active. So final should become active. That's something to check. Here we go, flaps full. And hopefully, Fenix, do it for me, please. Final approach. Perfect. Nice. So far, so good. So we are starting our descent. We can set missed approach altitude 6,000 feet. We have a quick look outside. We are cheating a little bit just to see the beauty of that approach. So on that side, mountain side is there. So that's just beautiful. See, now she's descending in manage mode. She will turn around there, and the airport, the turn on final is very, very tight here. So there is a speed restriction as well. You can see it here, maximum 145 knots. If your speed is higher than that, you will probably overshoot, and it's not the right ID to overshoot here. You see the terrain there. So 145 knots, we are good. We are at 132, so that's fine. Okay, good. So now the descent, we can see that the vertical deviation and lateral deviations are perfect. So we can see that for now Fenix is doing a perfect job. Now my concern is this right turn here, so this is gonna be tight, we will see. If we look here, it's just beautiful. This is the airport, and we are going to turn very, very tight here. So Whiskey Sierra 836, maximum speed 145 knots, and we have an obstacle to the left 2470. So probably, let's see if we can see that obstacle here, 245. I don't know what is the obstacle, but okay. We're about to turn final. Let's do the landing. We have landing memo no blue, all good. Missed approach altitude is set. We are still good in lateral and vertical deviation. If we look from the right side, excellent view there. Wow. And now we should start the right turn, and what is important for us is to check the lateral deviation here. We don't want to be out of tolerance, because you see you're gonna have a big trouble right there. And remember, we could be in IMC at that position, because our minimum is 1,790 feet and we are right now 3,000 feet, so you could be in cloud. So she's turning to final. Let's see what happens there. I see lateral deviation is perfect. If we have a look to the right, you see the approach light there. So it's a very tiny turn, and the airport is right there. We have some clouds. And what we are looking at is this. Your pilot monitoring will check this too. Lateral, vertical deviation. Everything looks good. We are going down. We are approaching 1,000 feet. We are stabilized. So for now, everything is looking good. 1,000 feet, stabilize. Wow, see the runway? The turn is like very tight. And she's doing a perfect job so far. She's bringing us on final. Can see the runway. We have a bit of cloud here, so that's good because our minimum is 1,790 feet. So hopefully not a problem for us. I can see the Papis 2 and 2. Wow. Wow. This is just great. Well, I'm very impressed. She's doing that perfectly well. So guys, go ahead and try it. Wow, look at this. We are ended up in final of the runway 2 and 2.
500.
Perfectly set. And our minimum will be 1790. So I'm going to take it manually now, so autopilot comes off. And we go for landing.
Minimum.
Continue, land. Follow the profile. Wow, that's a nice approach. 2 and 2.
$100. 50. 40. 20. Retard. 5.
Reversals. Diesel. $70 knots out of reverse. And that's it. We landed. Wow. Here we are safe. Safe in Salzburg. Excellent. So it worked pretty well. I hope that will answer the question that was asked to me by email about how to fly this approach. Very nice airport. What did you think about this approach, guys? It's beautiful, isn't it? So I guess the next training scenario, we are going to fly a couple of approach there, probably a go around, and then we probably come back for another approach. That could be a nice idea to train in this area here. So yeah, that's it. Do you still have any questions? Otherwise, I would like to thank you very much for your participation, that you've been here with me all this time. It was a real pleasure for me to have you, and I will be looking forward for the next stream, hopefully next week, if everything goes as planned. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, and if you have any idea about something you would like to see on the Airbus, on the Boeing, just let me know. Send me a comment in the down below in the YouTube or in the forum or in my Discord channel, and I will be very pleased to try to demonstrate that in a stream, in a live stream. So if you didn't subscribe yet to the channel, please do it. That will help me a lot. You can join as well my Discord, where we have all the discussions about the live stream and everything. And that's it. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for all the people here today. I cannot name you all because you are still a bit of, but thank you very much, guys, to be here. That's mean a lot for me. That's priceless. I was not expecting to have an audience for the first stream, so I'm very, very happy. Thank you, guys, and I wish you a very nice weekend. Stay safe as always, and I see you for another stream probably next week. And this scenario that we flew today will be released later on tonight, so probably in around 1 hour. You can go ahead and fly it on your PMDG 737 All Series, MD-80. You can fly it as well on the Airbus or any other aircraft able to climb to flight level 300. So that's going to be released tonight. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye, and stay safe.